And welcome to Mustang Field here in South Apopka for week 11 of the 2024 football season. It is season 18 of Wekiva Athletics and season, oh goodness, I've lost count for Apopka. They are one of, I think, the three oldest high school programs in Orange County. And so they have been doing this for quite some time. Crosstown rivals of the Mustangs. Both of these schools in Apopka city limits, the only two high schools in Orange County in Apopka city limits. And actually when Wekiva was established 17 years and change ago, the city of Apopka actually annexed the land so that they would be officially part of the city of Apopka. And it is also the Mayor's Cup, or as we affectionately call it around here, the Tater Bowl. So the mayor is here, and he will be presenting the trophy after the conclusion of the game. It will then live at the victors' school in their trophy case for the next 12 months until we have this game again. This game is traditionally the last game of the year. It is always in week 11, and we trade back and forth. In odd-numbered years, it's hosted at Apopka. In even-numbered years, it's hosted at Wekiva. And so this year it is hosted here at Wekiva. However, this is a little bit unusual in the sense that because we had multiple hurricanes this year that disrupted the football schedule, the FHSAA has taken the unprecedented step of making it a 12-week season rather than an 11-week season. So we actually do have one more week. Schools that already did their makeup game, you still can only have 10 games total on your schedule, but if you lost one to either Hurricane Helene or Hurricane Milton, or for whatever other reason had to reschedule something, you now have kind of that opportunity to make it up. And as a result of that, the playoff picture is much blurrier than it would typically be at this point in the season. My name is Mark Barchi, and for the Tater Bowl, I will be your commentator. Your special expert tater will be Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief, joining me as always here in the broadcast booth. And Neil, both of these teams are finding themselves in the uncomfortable and unusual position of being below 500. However, again, because of the uncertainty of having that extra week in the season, a playoff berth is not out of the picture. Apopka probably looking a little bit better for that than Wekiva, but both of them need a win here tonight, and both of them probably need some other help in week 12.
And as always, Mark, thank you for that fine introduction. And yes, Mark, one note on that, you pretty much stole my thunder, said what I was going to, that both teams need to win tonight and then need some help moving along tonight as well as next week, that added week, well, not added week in terms of the number, but added in terms of on the calendar. Both these teams are 3-5, and this is the first time, 18th time they've met. First time both these teams are under 500 going into this matchup, which of course, as you mentioned, the Mayor's Cup at the end, it is the tradition that our mayor, Brian Nelson, will go ahead and award the trophy to the winning team. They then take it home back to their school. They put it in their trophy case for the upcoming year for everybody to see. Of course, it is one of the things that, at least in my opinion, and in my case, why I get so excited about sports, why sports has been such a big part of those traditions. You find that kind of a tradition where the trophy gets presented by official, all the way from the youth leagues, Little League and Bantam, all the way up to the pros. And so tonight, of course, if you've been with us all year, you know all about Wekiva's offense. They've been passing more and more, as you would expect. Pipkin and Blackman, your two running backs. And then, of course, 4 or 5 receivers. With Jackson Keeler throwing it to, they have included a couple of other players, Isaiah McNish, one of the guys who comes to mind. Under center from time to time out of that Wildcat formation. On the other hand, Apopka, if you follow Apopka, if you live in Apopka, anywhere in Apopka, not just the city proper, but out here in the unincorporated part of Apopka, Orange County, certainly it's no secret that they started it going all the way back with Rick Darlington, and it's continued with Jeff Ralston. They love to run that wing T. They are running some other formations a little bit more now under Coach Ralston than they did Coach Darlington, but still a formidable opponent. Do not let that 3-5 record fool you. One of the reasons that they are 3-5 is that Apopka has played a more difficult schedule than Wekiva. Wekiva certainly has not taken on an easy schedule, but probably a couple more top-ranked teams on Apopka's schedule than Wekiva's schedule. And of course, running the show nowadays is Tyson Davison, the junior. And as always, they have their trio of running backs to keep an eye out for. Sanders, Safford, and Simmons. They've rushed for 1,349 yards as a team. That's 6.3 yards per carry, so certainly getting the job done on the ground as you would expect. Of course, some of their problems have been being able to put that ball into the end zone, as they've only been averaging 11 points per game. And we'll get more into that as the game evolves and develops. So there is your matchup, as we're now about 3 minutes from getting started with our pregame ceremonies, which, of course, Mark, as always, you will be handling.
All right, let's welcome the fans who are here with us at Wekiva's Stadium as we get ready to roll with the Mayor's Cup Week 11 of the 2024 football season, starting right now. Good evening, everyone. Wekiva High School welcomes you to Mustang Field for Week 11 of Season 18. It's the Mayor's Cup. Please welcome our guests from Apopka High School. They are the Blue Darters. And they'll be taking on your Wekiva High School Mustangs. Before we begin our game this evening, we ask that you please stand as we honor America with the presentation of colors. The colors are presented tonight by the cadets of Wekiva's Air Force Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps program. Tonight's detail is under the command of Cadet Chief Master Sergeant Elijah Queen, carrying the U.S. flag. Carrying the Florida State flag is Cadet Airman First Class John Dos Santos. Carrying the Air Force flag is Cadet Senior Airman Yadiel Villegas. And the Rifle Guards are Cadet Second Lieutenant Brittany Hercule and First Lieutenant James Rabanek. And following the presentation of colors, please remain standing for the playing of our national anthem performed by the Pride of Wekiva, your Mustang Marching Band. Our thanks once again to the Wekiva Marching Band and the cadets of the Wekiva Air Force JROTC tonight and all season long for their participation in the dignity of our pregame festivities. And now, as our team captains prepare to take the field for the coin toss, we will recognize the officials of the Central Florida Officials Association calling tonight's game. We thank them for their dedicated service to our high school athletic programs and join them along with our participating schools, reminding everyone to make great sportsmanship a part of this and every athletic competition. For those of you here in the stadium, we want to let you know that we are simulcasting tonight's game on 3 different places, actually. We have our traditional video broadcast going to nfhsnetwork.com or the NFHS Network app on your favorite mobile device. We are also simulcasting to YouTube. That'll be youtube.com/Wekiva Sports or the YouTube app on your favorite computer, smart TV, or mobile device. And we also have AM 950 and FM 94.5 The Answer, WRL, here in the broadcast booth with us, putting it out on their website as well as their radio waves. So if you have friends or family elsewhere in Apopka or anywhere in the world and they were not able to join us in person for tonight's game, make sure you give them a call or text them right now. Let them know that they can tune in and watch live as the Mayor's Cup unfolds. And now, please welcome to the field your Wekiva High School Mustangs. So as we come back inside the broadcast booth, again, welcome to those of you joining us on YouTube or the NFHS Network. My name is Mark Barchi, voice of the Mustangs and Sports Information Director here at Wekiva High School, joined by Neil Fisher from the Apopka Chief. And Neil, this is a perennial contest. Some years Apopka and Wekiva have been in the same district. Other years, like this year, they have not. Wekiva's attendance is a little bit, or enrollment, I should say, is a little bit lower than Apopka's. So Apopka is in the big school classification. Wekiva one classification lower. So this game, these teams are not playing against each other directly for a spot in the playoffs. However, because of the changes that were made several years ago to the FHSAA power ranking formula, even though this is not a district contest and they're not playing competitively for a spot in the playoffs, tonight's game very much has implications for those playoff outcomes.
Yeah, of course, Mark, as you mentioned, Apopka in the large classification that is Class 7A, Wekiva in the class just below, that's 6A. As you mentioned, it has nothing to do with the quality of play or the wins or losses or records, just simply the student enrollment, the student body. Wekiva losing some students in the last 5 or 6 years. They dropped down to that Class 6A from 7A. And so both these teams, one thing is certain, we talked about it in the pregame before the JROTC with the presentation of colors as well as the Star Spangled Banner. These teams come in 3-5, and despite that record, both of them still have an outside shot of making the playoffs in both their classifications, but they need to win tonight. If they do lose, whoever loses this game will drop to 3-6, and that most likely will eliminate them from the playoffs. They need probably 5 or 6 other teams to also lose to stay alive. So it's a win or go home situation. Of course, Apopka, their game against against Cocoa, which was scheduled the Friday following Hurricane Milton roaring through the state of Florida. That game was canceled. They will not make that up. Wekiva, so this is their last game of the season. The best they can do is 4-5, and their strength of schedule will, if they do get into the playoffs, that's why the strength of schedule. Wekiva, on the other hand, still has one more game against Jones, and that was moved to next Friday.
The Blue Darters have won the toss and have deferred to the second half. That means the Mustangs will have the opening possession of the first half. So yeah, Neil, to your point, Wekiva plays Jones next week, and that will be a tough game as well. Jones is a formidable opponent on the road.
This is their last home game as well.
So, it's going to be a tough climb for both of these teams. But as you mentioned during the pregame, Apopka's strength of schedule maybe positions them a bit more strongly, where you like their chances, particularly if they were to win tonight. You like their chances of getting a playoff berth, at least as a wild card. And we now welcome to the field our guests for tonight's game, the Apopka Blue Darters.
So again, as Apopka rumbles onto the field with the big A, the blue background on one flag, dark blue, light blue at the other flag, along with the USA flag through the cheerleaders, the Hockey Hey sign. Wekiva doing the same. Did do the same on their side when you introduced them, the cheerleaders getting the fans ready to cheer. About 200 in attendance on both sides. And this all-important game, of course, this is the Tater Bowl. Go Apopka. The name Apopka is an Indian name, to literally translate means big potato. That's where tater comes from. It's for bragging rights, as both these schools are about 5 miles apart. Apopka up on the northwest side of town, and Wekiva down on the southeast side next to State Route 429. But more importantly, the tangible is both these teams still have an opportunity to earn a berth in the playoffs. Wekiva for Class 6A, Apopka for Class 7A, and we are ready to go as Apopka is lined up and Wekiva ready to receive. One other stat I want to point out, we mentioned this throughout the pregame. Apopka is running the ball well, 6.3 yards per carry. They have a foursome. The quarterback Davis, the running backs Sanders, Safford, and Simmons, 1,349 yards total, but they have not been able to put the ball in. The stats that I did not mention in the pregame is the 11 points per game. Wekiva, on the other hand, scoring 22.5. However, Wekiva is certainly giving up more points as well in the 30s, while Apopka is only allowing under 20.
Well, another thing I think we saw last week, Neil, Wekiva is going to have to demonstrate some progress on tonight, is just the sheer consistency of play. We saw what Wekiva's defense was capable of last week during that Lake Howell game, but we didn't see it on every possession. They got better over the course of the game, but there were also some times where they were quite soft, as the opening kickoff is into the end zone for a touchback. The Mustangs will take over with 1st and 10. And they will have the opening possession of tonight's first half, starting from the 20-yard line.
We are underway from Mustang Field, just next to the State Route 429. The winner, of course, gets the Mayor's Trophy. This isn't just for bragging rights. You do actually get a trophy. And Mayor Brian Nelson will award that at the end of this contest.
Correct, and that will then sit in their trophy case for the next year, and then it will go to Apopka's field, where we will have this game next year.
So 1st and 10 from the Wekiva 20. Wekiva having to move that ball 80 yards. Apopka lining up also in their traditional 4-3. Out of the one-back set, Jackson Keeler takes the first snap, and we got movement on the first play of the game. So some butterflies, and you could see that being telegraphed there as Keeler stuttered for a split second.
Prior to the snap, encroachment called against the Blue Darter defense. That's a 5-yard donation to the Mustang cause and a replay of first down.
So mentioned Apopka's low scoring, 88 points in total, so they're giving up 11 yards, they're averaging 11 yards, they're giving up only 93 points. And Wekiva tries to sludge ahead. I expect to see a lot of running tonight, probably more than you'd see last week against Lake Howell. Keep that ball away from Apopka in the famed T-wing formation. Again, mentioned in the pregame show that
Rory Smith on the carry.
It's about 2-yard gain, so it'll be 2nd and 8 from the 26.
Pass complete to Jabari Smith. Stop is made by Trey Muldrow.
And it'll be the first down of the game.
That's a pickup to the 39-yard line, enough for a Mustang. First down.
First and 10 at the Wekiva 39. Wekiva going a lot faster than we're used to seeing them.
Another outside slant to Jabari Smith. That one's going to be for no gain. In on the stop for the Darters was Brandon Paul, and that puts no gain on the play. The ball remains at the 39-yard line for 2nd and 10.
So Wekiva, no huddle all season. In fact, I don't think I've ever seen them huddle up, but they're moving even faster than usual as Keeler steps up, finds his man on the crossing route. That was Woolard, and he gets taken down in the Apopka territory.
Pass complete to number 2, Michael Ellis.
Excuse me, that's
Stop
Michael Ellis.
made by Henry Picard, and that puts the ball down to the 46-yard line of Blue Darter territory. That's a pickup of 15 yards and a Mustang first down.
So Wekiva looking good in its first few plays as we are early in the first quarter. The 6-play run in this game. Wekiva receiving the opening kickoff in the Tater Bowl. And the swing pass out to Ellison, who motors ahead along that left sideline close to a first down.
Pass complete to Demetrius Allison. Stop made for the Darters by Christopher Clayton. That puts the ball up 6 yards to the 40-yard line of Darter territory. Brings up 2nd and 4.
So 2nd and 4 opens up the options as far as the playbook, and they go to the run, swinging it to the outside, and rumbling along is Lawrence Pipkin.
Handoff made to Lawrence Pipkin Jr., who runs out of bounds after a pickup just short. No, it is good enough for a Mustang. First down.
So Apopka with another first down as they're now down at the Apopka 30-yard line. It's been a methodical drive.
And we'll pause for a break.
And actually, excuse me, that's the 35 of Apopka.
The Blue Darters request their first timeout of the first half. 9 minutes, 38 seconds remaining in the first quarter here in the 18th installment of the Mayor's Cup. Scoreless here in the first quarter from South Apopka.
Oh, yeah. It's like our defense don't want to be on the field. Run defense is our strength. Pass defense is never been our strength. New? In the past 20 years. Especially with our defensive backs when they used to be like 5'8".
And back to live action. Back to live action from Mustang Arena, 9:38, no score. But Wekiva on the march. They began this possession at their own 20, taking the ball on the opening kickoff in the end zone. And Coach Rawson, the Apopka coach, not liking what he's seeing as Wekiva has run 6 plays, moving up all the way to the 30-yard line. 2 rushes, 4 passes, and they're going to go now to the pass. No, it's a run, a quarterback design option as Keeler swings it down that middle on the right side, and he picks up.
Jackson Keller fakes the handoff and keeps it himself for a QB keeper. Miles Fieldings makes the stop, but not before the Mustangs pick up some territory. I don't see a lot of movement, and I see an officials conference. I don't see a penalty marker, but everyone's behaving like there's a penalty marker down.
Apopka yet to have possession of the ball. Again, Wekiva taking the opening kickoff.
And there's the referee with the white hat is chatting with the Mustang coaching staff there.
Okay, now the ball is back down at the 40-yard line. Not sure, like you said, Mark, what's going on. Excuse me, it's the 35-yard line, which is where the play started from, the line of scrimmage. And now we're getting word from the official.
I don't know that call. I think maybe his nose itched. I believe they're calling officials interference. So the play is negated. There's no penalty, but there's also no play.
The play never took place, so it's 1st and 10. Deep into the end zone. And overthrows his man, Ellis. And, of course, that's a play that on 1st and 10, moving the ball systematically and mechanically down the field, you can go with.
Pass intended for Ellis falls incomplete. And that'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs.
So, of course, traditionally, Apopka's defense has been better at stopping the run than the pass as Keeler steps up and threw that into a litany of blue darters.
Pass intended for Naeem Willard is in and out of his hands. Miles Fieldings had the secondary coverage. That'll bring up 3rd and 10 now for the Mustangs.
So there was one Wekiva Mustang in the area, but at least 3 blue darters. So far, the stats have bared to come to fruition as this has been, ball's been moved mostly through the air, 33 yards in the air. Only 5 on the ground for Wekiva. Wekiva back to the 1 set, 4 receivers in. Keeler to his right and overthrows McNish.
Pass intended for McNish, coverage by Picard, and that will bring up 4th and 10 for the Mustangs. Well, Neil, that play that didn't count was the best play Wekiva had on that set of downs.
Yeah, and of course, it was only about a 3-yard completion, so it's not sure McNish would have been able to get enough yards after the catch to make the first down. Anyway, it would have helped them, though.
Yeah, Neil, you and I have said this, at the high school level, where they are right now at the 35 is kind of no man's land. Punting doesn't really buy you a lot. It's out of range for most high school field goal
52
kickers.
yarders, so Keeler lines up his offense.
And Wekiva gets exactly what they were hoping for. Prior to the snap, encroachment called against the Blue Darter defense. It's 5-yard penalty from the previous spot and a replay of 4th down.
So again, mentioned both these teams 3 and 5, a bit of a surprise, more so for Apopka. And there's one of the reasons you make those mistakes on critical plays. And now Wekiva looking at a 4th and 5 as he emptied the backfield, trips on the far sideline, 2 receivers on the near side. And the pressure is on. Keeler being chased down to the right sideline, and it's incomplete, one-on-one coverage. That was Demirian.
Pass intended for Demetrius Ellis and coverage by Miles Fieldings. The pass falls incomplete, and that will turn the ball over on downs to the Blue Darters at their own 30-yard line.
So Wekiva with an opening 6 plays, which looked impressive, taking the ball from their own 20 to the Apopka 46-yard line, and then 4 incomplete passes. And the ball's back on Apopka's possession now, their first of the game, with 8:52 remaining in the first quarter. The 2024 Tater Bowl underway from Mustang Field on the southeast side of Apopka. That's Wekiva's home field. And so we mentioned they're going to run that wing tee to death. That's what they've been doing for 30-plus years. Look for them to go for a lot of sweeps, a lot of runs to the outside, and as soon as I said that, they begin their assault. I believe that's Sanders picking up the first down. Get the ball running, get some momentum, find their football legs. Now they go up the middle, and they'll push the defensive line ahead. Looks like it's a 4-yard gain, setting up 2nd and mid-range.
Tyson Davis on the play. George Phillips, Jamar Watkins in on the stop. That's a pickup of 5 yards. It puts the ball just into Mustang territory and brings up 2nd and 4. Excuse me, 2nd and 5.
So Davidson, the quarterback with a 38.9 QB rating, throwing the ball only 74 times in the season. That's a little less than 10 per game. And they've yet to throw that first pass, is now the running back. Jukes and jives and some stutters, about a 3-yard gain, so that'll bring up 3rd and short, which is exactly how the Apopka offense is supposed
Devin
to
Simmons
run.
on the carry, stop made by Isaiah McNish. That puts the ball down to the 46-yard line and brings up 3rd and 2.
3rd and 2 for Apopka. You just heard Mark Barty say, our public address announcer. Certainly, this is not your typical atmosphere between a pair of 3 and 5 teams. It's the Tater Bowl. If you're new to Apopka, these schools are only 5 miles apart. You can certainly feel that rivalry. Both bands in attendance tonight taking turns, as well as about 200 fans for each side as Apopka goes to that right side. They don't go outside the tackles, but the line pushed forward. Looks like it'll be a first down for Wekiva, for Apopka. And yes, it is. I see the chains being moved as Wekiva with an opportunity to match
on the carry, and that puts the ball at the 44-yard line. It is enough for a Blue Darter first down. And we've now reached the midpoint of the first quarter, so we'll pause for an official timeout. 6 minutes, 33 seconds remaining in Q1 here on week 11 of season 18 of Mustang football as we face the 18th edition of the Mayor's Cup to conclude the home portion of the 2024 football season.
So Apopka picks up the first down. The possession continues. 6:33 remaining in the first half. And Wekiva with an opportunity to match what the Apopka defense did. It wasn't pretty, but Apopka got Wekiva off the field without any damage. That goes by the wayside from the Wekiva viewpoint as Davidson lines up the Blue Darters. Apopka, 1st and 10. He'll take it himself. A stutter to the right. Couple of opportunities for Wekiva to hold him to a short game, but Davidson eludes him as he motors through that defense, and it'll wind up being about a 3-yard gain.
Davison on the QB keeper, stopped by Jabari Smith, among others, of the Mustang defense. A gain of 2 on the play. That puts the ball at the 42-yard line of Mustang territory and brings up 2nd and 8.
And so if you're new to watching Apopka, you're seeing exactly what they've been doing for 30-plus years under 2 coaches. Of course, Jeff Ralston now the coach in, I believe, his 6th season. And there's something else. You see that motion. They like to move their running backs along the line and into H-back position. They hand it off. And storming his way through that line.
Devin Simmons on the carry. Stop made by Isaiah McNish. And that will move the marker down to the 35-yard line of Mustang territory for a pickup of 7. It brings up 3rd and a long 1.
So mentioned at the beginning of the game as well as the pregame, and this goes to the comments I just made, that Apopka runs that T-wing when they're not running it. When they're not running out of the T-wing, they're running out of some other formation. Probably about 70% of the time now. So far, it's been the Sanders and Davidson show, each taking the ball 3 times. And here goes Sanders again. Slippery through that and some power. Excuse me, that was Davidson.
Tyson Davison on the carry. George Phillips makes the stop for the Mustangs. That pushes the ball down to the 26-yard line for a pickup of 9 on the carry, and it's a Blue Darter first down.
3rd first down on this possession. We're still in the first quarter. Both teams with 1 possession. Wekiva unable to move the ball past their own 33-yard line. See if Apopka can now move it deeper into the Wekiva territory. So far, they're looking good. Wekiva having trouble stopping this rushing attack as Davison again, some jukes, some jives, as they continue with the pound and ground attack.
Tyson Davison on the QB keep. Stop made by George Phillips and Jabari Smith of the Mustang defense. That's a pickup of 5 yards to the 21-yard line. It'll be 2nd and 5 for the Blue Darters.
So 2nd and 5. Now if you're Apopka, you have the opportunity to open up that playbook. Certainly you can take a shot at the end zone on your first pass, or you can swing that ball on a rushing play to the outside. Apopka lining up again. They own 2 receivers on each side in motion. Burden, 1 back set. A H-back being used again is Davidson, the fake handoff. And he slams ahead, lowering the shoulders. And it's another first down.
QB keeper again for Tyson Davison. Stop made by Isaiah.
No score, of course. Still got an opportunity to win if you give up the first points, but life is much easier when you score first, especially in a rivalry game. And Davidson takes it again, puts his forearm ahead and pushes the offensive line ahead. Nothing fancy, down to the 10-yard line. So another 6-yard gain.
Davison again on the keeper, and that puts the ball down to the 11-yard line for a gain of 5.
So officially a 5-yard gain, as you just heard Mark Barchi, the public address announcer, as well as my partner, mention. Excellent position for Apopka. Systematically, methodically matriculating this ball down the field. And, of course, at 2nd and 5, they can get the ball inside the 10-yard line and a first down. Davidson comes up, now goes back to the shotgun, one-back set, H-back at the top, H-back in motion now. He'll line up on the right side, and the handoff, nope, it's another play action, fake handoff actually. And he's stuffed at the 10-yard line.
Davidson on the QB keep. The Mustang defensive line is not fooled. It makes a stop after a gain of 1. That'll bring up 3rd and 4 from the Darters from the Mustang 10-yard line. And Neil, after you run that play 3 or 4 times in a row, eventually Wekiva gets smart to it.
Yeah, I think.
You know what? I don't think he's going to hand that ball off.
So I think Coach Ralston and his offensive coordinator were maybe trying to use some reverse psychology there.
The double bluff?
Yeah, thinking Wekiva would think that they're not going to run it and maybe catch him sleeping looking for something else. As I look to my right, I see the Mustang mascot. Mustang
Mighty
Field,
Max.
the site for the 2024 Tater Bowl. And, of course, can't stress enough the importance of this play. 3rd and 4, Wekiva giving up in a 12-yard play, 12th play, trying to keep Apopka out of the end zone, and they do just that as the defensive line breaks down the offensive line, and down goes Davidson.
Sack by Brock Billings.
Brock Billings, it looked like no one put a hand on him.
Ball all the way
straight
back
up
now
middle.
to the 19-yard line. That's a loss of 9 on the sack, and it brings up 4th and 13 for the Blue Darters. So now they bring out the field goal unit. This is number 53, Michael Wells, to attempt the field goal. However, he will have to kick it in the other direction because we have reached the end of the first quarter. Scoreless as of yet, but the Blue Darters, unless they change their mind, will be lined up to kick a field goal at the other end of the field as soon as we return from our first intermission here at Mustang Field. Goose eggs on the scoreboard so far in Week 11 of Season 18.
And Wells will be trying to give Apopka the lead from 28 yards out.
Orlando Health Jewett Orthopedic Institute is honored to be on the sidelines tonight, on the field and off. We provide a full spectrum of orthopedic services and a multitude of specialties and subspecialties, from hip, knee, and shoulder experts to orthopedic traumatology and more. Offering proven leading-edge technologies and techniques, Orlando Health Jewett Orthopedic Institute provides patients world-class personalized care from a number of convenient locations throughout Central Florida. We're proud to feature Florida's first dedicated orthopedic hospital. Learn more at orlandohealth.com/ortho. Orlando Health, choose well.
First play of the second quarter, the Apopka Blue Darters looking to take a 3-0 lead. It's Wells from 28 yards out, ball down, snap up, and the kick is good. No, it's no good, wide right. So
35-yard field goal attempt is no good. Just a bit outside, and so we remain scoreless with 11 minutes, 58 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
So Wekiva, some good fortune on their side with the missed field goal. But they did also show some resiliency, give them some credit, as Apopka moved that ball down on 10 straight plays all the way from their own 35-yard line to the Wekiva 11, and then they stiffened up, allowing only 1 yard on second down, and then, of course, the big sack by Billings on third down, forcing that field goal. And now they go back to offense, starting from their own 11-yard line. That's Wekiva.
Miles Billings makes the stop. Excuse me, that's Jabari Smith on the catch.
Remains
That's a
0-0.
pickup of a long 3, maybe a short 4 yards. Brings up 2nd and 6 for the Mustangs.
Wekiva lining up again. They're snapping that ball a lot quicker than we've seen in the past. And the handoff on the right side. And no, that's actually Keeler taking a page out of the Apopka playbook with a quarterback run, the design option. And he pounded ahead, got some solid yards.
Kaler with a QB sneak picks up another 5 yards. It brings up 3rd and 1 for the Mustangs from their own 29-yard line.
And now whistles as there was a lot of movement at the line on both sides. We'll see who moved first.
Timeout, Blue Darters, their 2nd timeout of the first half.
So actually, it was a timeout, as you just heard Mark say.
And I have a feeling that timeout was to prevent disaster. When you see a coach call a timeout on the 3rd play of a drive in that kind of situation, either somebody wasn't lined up properly and they were about to get a penalty, or somebody wasn't lined up properly and they're about to lose a ton of yards.
As I said, there was a lot of movement, specifically on the right side of that line, and a lot of it was on the Apopka side. So the good news if you're Wekiva is, of course, you did not give up any points. As you mentioned, Apopka moving the ball from their own 35-yard line to the Wekiva 11 on 10 plays, a very systematic, mechanical drive, exactly what you would expect to see from Apopka. They've been doing what they just did for 30-plus years. The bad news is you take over the ball at your own 20-yard line for the 2nd consecutive possession, a long, long way to go. And, of course, that does play into Apopka's hand, regardless of whether they have the ball of the opponent. Field position is as much a part of Apopka's game and strategy as the actual play and the plays they're calling. So Wekiva on 3rd and 2. One back set. The running back set a little bit wider than usual. 3 receivers near side, but they hand it off, and Pipkin smothered right at the line of scrimmage, and I don't believe he gained any yardage. Might have even lost
Lawrence
a couple
Pipkin
yards.
Jr. on the carry. Trayvon Williams, among others, in on the stop. That puts the ball at the 26-yard line. That'll be a loss of 3, and it brings up 4th and 4 for the Mustangs.
So first punt of the game.
Yeah, and you have to here. I mean, you don't want to. You've seen what Apopka can do just through the slow and steady run down the field. So
Wekiva did have its opportunity on its first possession, moved the ball from its own 20 to the Apopka 33-yard line, but now it looks like Apopka starting to find its mojo on defense. Takes an Apopka roll in terms of it rolling right to number 5, Fieldings, and he turns it upfield, trying to get through that special teams. He'll gain about 7 yards on the return, but Apopka will begin 1st and 10. Excellent field position at their own 47-yard line.
Miles Fielding's on the return. Jameer Tyson makes the stop for the Mustang kicking team, and the Blue Darters will take over with reasonably good field position at their own 47-yard line.
And just mentioned, field position, where they start those possessions, as much a part of Apopka's game plan and really their strategy and just the state of the program as the actual play. They've been doing this for years. They stay on the ground. Line moves backwards, 2nd, 3rd, even 4th time, pick up that extra last yard.
QB keeper by Tyson Davison. There is a penalty marker over on the right side of the play.
So,
holding is called against the Blue Darter offense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot and a replay at 1st down.
(10-10), second quarter, no score in the 2024 Tater Bowl. Wekiva Mustangs hosting now on the southeast side of Apopka. And the line of scrimmage is now the 37. And they'll bring up 1st and 20. Both these teams 3 and 5, but have a opportunity to still get into the playoffs. They have to win tonight. The loser will be eliminated most likely, as there's motion. And now the first pass of the game from Davidson. It's complete over to Rossi, the man in motion. It'll be a short gain, though.
Pass is complete to Alex Rossi. That puts the ball at the 38-yard line.
A 1-yard gain officially. And Apopka finally goes to the air.
Second and 19 coming up for the Blue Darters.
Apopka goes to the air on its 18th play of the game, as we are now about to drop under 9 minutes. Remain in the one-back set with trips on the far sideline. Second consecutive pass, Davidson rolling right. And he finds his man down by the first down marker. And that man, the receiver, turns it upfield and rumbles ahead for extra yards all the way into Wekiva Field.
Pass is complete to Noah Morgan. And that will cover the 19 yards needed and more. That gets the ball into Mustang territory at the 35-yard line.
That's a 27-yard gain.
27-yard pickup on the play and a Blue Darter first down.
And we've been seeing what we just saw all year, Mark. Wekiva on both sides, but talking specifically about defense, since the defense is out and they just gave up a big play. The defense looks like it's found its mojo, looks like it's starting to make some inroads towards controlling the game, the field, the dynamics, and then they give up that big play. That wasn't just a first down on 2nd and 19. They got it all the way into the Wekiva territory as Davidson lurches ahead. Again,
Davidson on the QB keep. Stop is made this time by Marlon Perking. And that will advance the ball 5 yards to the 29-yard line of Mustang territory.
And we've seen this over and over as Apopka now has run 20 plays where Davidson takes the ball, runs it behind the center and the tackles. He'll get the initial contact will come at the line of scrimmage or maybe even a couple yards behind, but he just keeps pushing that defensive line forward. And when all's said and done, and here we're seeing this again, this time with Sanders, it's a 5-yard gain.
Sanders on Stafford on the carry, and Marcellus Reese makes a stop for Wekiva. The ball is right at first down yardage, and it is. It is a Blue Darter first down.
Safford, the junior running back, taking his first carry of the game, moves the ball down to the Wekiva 25. And as you just heard Mark Barchi, our PA announcer, to say it's 1st and 10. So mentioned at the beginning of the game, it's been a quartet for Apopka on their running attack. Davidson, Sanders, Safford, and Simmons. Safford averaging 8.1 yards per game, 161 yards total. He takes his first carry, and it's important because it gives a first down at the Wekiva 25. Now Davidson stops, goes back to the right. Somebody on the D-line lifted
carry,
him.
Jabari Smith clothesline or gets under his knees, and that will advance the ball 3 yards to the 21-yard line.
And there's the beauty of this running attack that Apopka continues to run season after season. 3 yards doesn't seem like it's that much, but if you get 3 yards 4 times, you get a first down. As Davidson now goes back to work. Ball at the Wekiva 22, 2nd and 7 out of the one-back set. Hands it off to that running back who charges ahead. And again, just keeps pushing that the nose tackle and the guard, or the tackle and guard on the right side backwards.
Michael Wells on the carry. The stop made by Isaiah McNish. And that'll bring up 3rd and 2.
Wells taking his first carry of the game. So up until 3 plays ago, it was the Sanders and Davidson show, about 2/3, 1/3 in favor of Davidson as we drop under 6 minutes in the first quarter. As Apopka on 3rd down, and I believe it was 4 yards. Hands the balls off to Sanders. And it was actually 3rd and 3.
Johnny Sanders has the carry. Jabari Smith had him from behind, but not before picking up the Blue Darter first down. That spots the ball at the 14-yard line for a pickup of 3. And we have reached the midpoint of the second quarter. That means it's time for our second water break. Still scoreless, but the Blue Darters find themselves about where they were at the end of the first quarter, as they are at the 14-yard line, and they'll have 1st and 10 when we come back from the break.
5:48 remaining before halftime in the annual Tater Bowl, the 2024 edition. I'm the official along with Mark Barchi. And thank you for joining us on this Friday night. Both teams only 3-5, but both still an outside shot at the playoffs. Apopka at the Wekiva 15-yard line after picking up the first down. They continue on the ground. This is their 24th play they've run. It'll be about 8-yard carry. That was Sanders.
Sanders on the carry for a pickup of 7. That pulls the ball down to the 7-yard line and brings up 2nd and 3.
So Apopka can get the first down without having to score the touchdown. No score, but Apopka has certainly dominated starting field position. Mentioned throughout this game, field position where they start is much a part of their design state of the program as the actual play and what plays they call. And they've certainly executed perfectly tonight as Davison takes the ball and he continues to push and surge and lurch ahead, and he's into the end zone. 7-yard touchdown.
Davison on the QB keep is into the end zone for a 7-yard Blue Darter touchdown.
10-yard, 10-play drive, 53 yards. And again, it all started with excellent starting field position for Apopka at their own 47-yard lines, just having to move the ball 53 yards. And now Wells in, snap, ball down, kick up, and this time his efforts are successful. 7-0 Apopka.
The try by Michael Wells is good. The Blue Darters take a 7-0 lead with 4 minutes, 48 seconds remaining in the second quarter.
So Apopka has run 25 plays with 4:48 remaining before halftime. 27 of those 29 plays have been via the air, have been passing, and one was lethal, a 27-yard Davidson to Morgan completion. Not only was that lethal because it was 27 yards, but it was 2nd and 19. Apopka had committed a self-inflicted penalty, a holding, and both times Wekiva's had an opportunity to at least swing the field position, starting field position, more towards their favor. Of course, that 27-yard play had tangible results as they continued that possession and wind up scoring the 7-yard touchdown. Davidson moving into the end zone, and now 7-0 with 4:48 remaining before halftime. Wells kicking the ball off, and the 2024 Tater Bowl. Pipkin taking it, trying to weave his way through that left side. He'll get some decent yardage. Gets the ball up to around the 30-yard line.
Number 5, Lawrence Pipkin Jr. on return. Darters defense on the hit.
Pipkin Jr. on the return for the Mustangs, and that puts the ball up to the 29-yard line. Make it the 28. The Mustangs take over from there with 1st and 10.
So Wekiva averted falling behind on their Apopka's first possession, as Wells was unable to connect on a 35-yard field goal, went wide right. Unable to do it a second time. Davidson completing a 53-yard drive, surging into that end zone. A lot of contact, but no one able to bring him down. He just kept pushing forward. And now the handoff, and we got some room move by Blackman, taking advantage of some room on that right side.
Blackman on the carry for the Mustang offense, and
4-yard carry.
pick up a 4 on the play. That puts the ball at the 32-yard line of Mustang territory, 2nd and 6.
Hand off again. This time they try the left side with
Michael Blackman once again on the carry for the Mustangs. Stop that time. Made
Pass was good. But Woolard,
pass intended for Jabari Smith, falls incomplete. And that'll bring up 4th and 3 for the Mustangs. Coach Gabriel wanted an encroachment call on that play. Didn't get one.
And that was a good pass. However, even if Smith did catch it, I don't think he would have been able to get the first down. He was about 3 yards short.
And now we're going to see a personnel change here. Personnel change for the Mustangs. And it looks like they are going to make discretion the better part of valor.
Yeah, now Wekiva, after moving the ball from its own 33-yard line to, its own 20-yard line to the Apopka 33-yard line, they were looking good for those first 6 plays. They now have been forced into 2 3-and-outs, and this will take a Wekiva bounce all the way down to the Apopka 32-yard line.
Phillips on the punt, and it will not be returned by the Blue Darters. It is down at the 32-yard line, so Apopka will take over from there with 1st and 10 for their next offensive drive.
So Wekiva needs to come up with the stop on defense. Down 7-0. Remember, Apopka gets the ball to start the second half, so even a field goal puts you down by 2 scores. And as we have seen, Apopka is still doing what they've been doing for 30-plus years. They gouge you to death 3 yards at a time, 3 and 4 yards at a time with their running attack, which means not only is starting field position important, but so is time of possession. Apopka running 25 plays. This will be their 26th play. And it is Cawthorn who takes it, swings it around to the right side, avoids a couple of tackles.
Cawthorn on the carry,
on the play.
Holds on the stop after tripping, and there is a penalty marker on the play. Holding called against the Blue Darters offense. That's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot and a replay of 1st down.
So Apopka committing only 2 penalties so far, as we're only 3:22 from halftime, but both of them have been holding penalties and on 1st down. Last time Apopka unable to contain the Wekiva defense, unable to contain the Apopka running it. Actually, it was their passing attack as they completed a 27-yard pass on 2nd and 19, and it gave them second life, and eventually the touchdown was scored by Davidson from 7 yards out. Now it's 1st and 20 at the Apopka 23-yard line. And they go to the pass and a completion to Frazier. That'll get it back up to the original line of scrimmage.
To Elijah Frazier. And that will pull the ball back to the original line of scrimmage and maybe 1 or 2 more. Ball is spotted at the 34-yard line. Officially a pickup of 12. 2nd and 8 coming up for the Darters.
So a little bit better than originally thought. They'll be within 10 yards on 2nd down in the handoff. Lots of room to run as the offensive line just blew a hole on the left side. And that was Cawthon slamming
play made
ahead
by number 31, Devin Simmons, and that will pull the ball up to the 44-yard line. That's a pickup of 10 on the play, and that's good for a Blue Darter 1st down.
So it was actually
digs themselves out of the hole.
It was Simmons getting the 1st down, and once again, Wekiva's defense not able to take advantage of a holding penalty as Davidson goes down for a short gain.
Davison on the QB keep, and the stop is made by Isaiah McNish. Now, McNish did his job there, but you would like to have seen one of the first 2 guys tackle him because McNish had to come from behind. That means you push him forward. Still, though, only a 2-yard gain, so the Mustangs escape with relatively little damage there. 2nd and 8 coming up from the Blue Darters' own 46.
1:40 remaining. 2nd and 8. Davidson rolls right, goes to the air, finds his man, and Wekiva territory throwing a laser down to, I think that was the 40-yard line. And no, actually it was an incomplete pass.
Pass intended for Elijah Frazier. The coverage was made by Jalen Barnes with some help from Jabari Smith, and that'll bring up 3rd and 8 for the Darters. So the Mustangs escape there. What looked like could have been a very dangerous play, getting the ball into Mustang territory. And again, 1:26 left on the clock here, so you have to at least account for the likelihood that this is going to be the last productive possession of the half. And as you've mentioned earlier, Apopka is going to have the ball first for the second half.
We're seeing a typical Apopka game plan. Hold on to the ball, as important as what they actually do. As there's a completion and a first down.
Pass complete to Elijah Frazier. Cameron Holt has the stop after the catch.
So once again, we've seen it over and over.
That is good for a Blue Darter first down. Ball spotted in Mustang territory at the 45-yard line for a pickup of 9.
So we've seen it over and over on the running game where the initial contact is made around the line of scrimmage, but they just keep going ahead. They fall forward for 4, 5, 6 yards. We're seeing again in the running game. But that previous play, I bring it up because it was a first down. We saw it in the passing game.
Play made by Devin Simmons. Tyson on the stop for the Mustangs. Excuse me, that was Naeem Willard, I think. That is good for a pickup of 9 yards. That puts the ball at the 36-yard line of Mustang territory. Brings up 2nd and 1 as we pause for a timeout.
So as Mark mentioned, this not only is a 9-yard gain, and the Apopka continues to matriculate the ball up the field, but it now sets up 2nd and 1 and pretty much opens up the whole playbook.
The Blue Darters request their final timeout of the first half. 39 seconds remaining. Darters up 7-0 here in Week 11 of Season 18 of the 18th edition of the Mayor's Cup.
Who ran that?
2 weeks ago, I was after August. Ryan School had 10 wins.
Who ran that?
Medium, great. And it was Monday nights. It was a big win.
7. Simmons. Oh, Simmons. Okay. 39 seconds before halftime in the 2024 Mayor's Cup. Apopka, as you would expect, systematically and mechanically on offense, controlling the ball. They've run the ball over 30 times compared to about 10 for Wekiva, now facing 2nd and 1 with the 7-0 lead.
The catch is made by Morgan, but he was out of bounds, and so that is ruled incomplete, and that will make it 3rd and short for the Darters.
So as I mentioned, as we went into that break, opens up the playbook with 2nd and 1, and only 36 seconds before halftime, they go to the air. Throwing the ball 3 times on this possession. They did not throw the ball through the first 25 plays. That's Apopka, and they go back to the air as Davidson finds his man along the right sideline. It's a short but effective and lethal play
Pass
to the
complete
Wekiva defense.
To Demarion Cawthon, and that is right at the boundary of play. He runs out of bounds to stop the clock right afterwards. 4 seconds elapsed, 31 seconds left on the clock, and it is a Darter first down from just past the 30-yard line.
So that's a 5-yard gain officially, and the ball at the 31-yard line, as you just heard Mark Barchi say. And now Apopka goes back to the one-back set, trips on the near side, and back to the pass on first down. Under pressure, Davidson runs, throws, incomplete. And a bit of, I guess you say, some comedy as the secondary.
Elijah Frazier, the intended receiver, Jamar Watkins, and Jalen Barnes there to make it bounce away. The pass falls incomplete. It brings up 2nd and 10 for the Blue Darters from the Mustang 30-yard line.
And so, Mark, it's actually been a while since I've said this, but I also call these games, and one of the things I look out for is time of possession, because if the opponents doesn't have possession of the ball, they can't score. And
Well,
if there's ever a team
most of the
that's
time.
done that, it's Apopka. As now they go back to the air, another short but effective and lethal pass completion.
Pass completion to Jockey Sanders. Naeem Woolard pushes him out of bounds, but not before the Blue Darters pick up that first down. The ball now at the 20-yard line for a gain of 10 on the completion.
And not only are they down at the 10-yard line, but as you just heard Mark say, it's a first down.
Mustangs request their first timeout of the first half.
That the completed pass was only for about 4 yards, but then you add another 6 onto it, and you're down at the 21-yard line with a first down and only 17 seconds. So as you said, Mark, Apopka, more than likely, they would have to commit a self-inflicted mistake. They'd have to turn the ball over or maybe a penalty to not have the ball when this first half ends. And that goes right into, again, time of possession. Keep moving the ball 3-4 yards at a time and just keep possession. And as we mentioned, 25 runs to start the game. They've now thrown the ball 8 times since then. And the passes, when they have gone to them, have been just as effective as the runs. Again, a lot of those completed passes just for 3 or 4 yards, but then the receiver gets another 5 yards, and suddenly you're second and short as now the ball into the end zone. And no flag.
Pass intended for
Simmons.
Noah Morgan, and it falls to the ground incomplete.
So now second.
Coverage in the secondary provided by Tykeus Davis, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Darters.
With only 11 seconds remaining. So you're now looking at a 38-yard field goal. If you joined us late, Apopka took its first possession. Wekiva had the opening possession. Apopka did stop them at the Wekiva, or at their own 33-yard line. Took over the ball and then moved it from the 35 to the Wekiva 18-yard line, setting up a 35-yard field goal, which was no good. Now Davidson into the end zone, and another incomplete pass. As give Woolard and
Hawthorne, the
credit.
intended receiver, Boulard, the primary defender in the secondary on that play, and that will now bring up 3rd and 10, and there are 5 seconds left. Now, keep in mind, you don't have to wait to 4th down to kick a field goal. If you think you don't have time, you can kick a field goal on any down you want, but it will end your possession.
But it is a 38-yard field goal attempt from Wells. And no good.
Wells' field goal attempt is no good, and that will also take us to halftime. 7-0 is the score. The Blue Darters have 2 missed field goals and a touchdown to their credit. The Mustangs still looking to get on the board after the opening 24 minutes of action here in Week 11 of Season 18, the 18th edition of the Mayor's Cup, or the Tater Bowl as we like to call it. Don't go anywhere. Halftime show's coming up next here at Mustang Field.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The Blue Darter Band would like to thank John Tay Perry, Mike McKee, and the entire Wekiva Band family for their hospitality this evening. We would like to wish both Wekiva and Apopka marching bands good luck tomorrow as they perform in their annual marching performance assessment at Boone High School. And now, on behalf of Principal Lyle Hines, Director Jeremy Langford, and Mark Ellis, and the entire band family, we proudly bring you the 2024 Blue Darter Marching Band. The Blue Darter Band is under the field direction of Head Drum Major Wyatt LeCarey, Assistant Drum Majors Jalen Ramos, Lexi Barnard, and Carter Langford. Our band colonels are Katie Behrens, Maria Idonitis, Taylor Sellers, Abigail Urena, Jafari Green, and Ryan Porter. Tonight's field performance for the Blue Darter Band, we bring you Daughters of the Caribbean, featuring music from the movie series Pirates of the Caribbean. Wyatt LeCarey, is your band ready? Ladies and gentlemen, your 2024 Blue Darter Marching Band.
Yeah, 98 was like 2-8. So teams that have a chance to make the playoffs could make up the games that matter, so they might get into the playoffs. Now, Apopka, officially, we're not going to hold the close. But everything, I wish we would have spent big money to get this here back out. But teams like the Rivalry, Sumner, AC, and Alonzo are all going to have rebuild. And those programs, again, are huge. They can win that. They might not win the playoffs.
Once again, the Blue Darter Marching Band with their halftime show, Darters of the Caribbean.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'd like to take this time to welcome the Apopka High School family. And we would like to also congratulate them on a good luck on tomorrow for their Music Performance Assessment Festival. And now, let's welcome the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustang Band. Tonight's performance is geared towards our District 8 Music Performance Assessment Festival, which is held tomorrow at Boone High School. The time for Wekiva is 1:20 p.m. The time for Apopka High School is 4 o'clock p.m. Please come out and support both bands as they display the instructions that are given inside the classroom as well as during the rehearsals outside of the classroom. Drum majors, Jordan Wheeler and David Maldonado. Is your band ready for evaluation? The Wekiva High School Marching Band, you may now begin your performance. We would also like to congratulate the Apopka High School Marching Band as they have been invited to England for the 2025-2026 New Year's Day Parade. We'd like to also congratulate the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustangs Band as they have been invited to perform at the 2025-2026 Super Bowl Invitational Parade and Battle of the Bands in New Orleans, Louisiana. Give it up one more time for the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustang Band from Apopka, Florida. Excellent at its best. Once again, please join us tomorrow at Boone High School as we are going through our evaluation for the Music Performance Assessment Festival. Director of Band, Mr. Dante Petty. Director of Color Guard is Mr. McKee. Assistant Director of Color Guard, Ms. Knight. Assistant Director of Color Guard, Ms. Brown. Director of Percussion is Mr. Mark. And also, Assistant Director of Percussion is Mr. DJ. Drum majors, David Maldonado and Jordan Willard. One more time, a round of applause for the Wekiva High School Mighty Marching Mustang Band.
And we'll now take you back inside the booth as we get ready for the third quarter. The bands ran a little bit long, but that's okay. The teams were able to warm up in the end zones while they finished up, and so they're now ready to take the field. And Neil, you said it several times during the second quarter, Apopka really milking that clock for time of possession. They ended up not scoring any points, but by golly, they were going to be sure that Wekiva was not going to score anything either. And now Apopka gets the ball to start the second half as they won the coin toss and deferred at the beginning of the game. So back-to-back possessions for Apopka. Now Wekiva's defense has gotten an opportunity to rest in the locker room during halftime, but still it does certainly wear on your stamina after a while when the time of possession is as lopsided as it has been tonight.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. And as you just mentioned, 7-0 lead as we get ready to start the second half in the 2024 Mayor's Cup. Apopka with that 7-0 lead. Tyson Davidson going from 7 yards out on the ground. Both these teams 3-5, still an outside shot at making the playoffs. Wekiva, Class 6A, Apopka 7A. They do need to win tonight, though. The loser will be eliminated. The winner still has that outside shot. And one of the things...
Well, I'll say that it's not statistical elimination, but to your point, you go from having 2 or 3 good things you need to happen to having 8 or 10 unlikely things that you need to happen.
So getting more specific here, go over the statistics like I do at the beginning of the second half. They're pretty much what you would expect, and they do fall straight into what you said as far as going back to what I said, which is Apopka likes to milk that clock. Apopka's time of possession and starting field position is as important to them winning and being able to control the game as it is to what they're actually doing and running, how many yards they gain as they get the ball. Now, I'll get the stats in just a minute. There's one in particular that really stuck out to me as Davidson lines his guys up. You see that motion. You see that all the time with them. Guy moving into the H-back position. They hand it off straight ahead a couple yards. And so I believe that was Sanders with that run, or excuse me, Simmons. And so the stat that really stuck out to me, Mark, was 32 plays run by
Trey
Apopka.
Mulder on the carry. The stop was made by the Mustangs after a gain of 3 yards. And that puts the ball at the 24-yard line, brings up 2nd and 7.
2nd and 8. So 32 plays run for Apopka in that first half to 16 as Davidson whips that ball out incomplete. And that'll bring up 3rd and 8. And we saw this throughout the first half, Mark. It wasn't like Apopka was gaining big yards on 1st and 2nd down. They did have a couple where they got like 7, 8, 9 yards. But most of their damage was done on 3rd down when the Wekiva defense was facing at least 6 yards to go. Now it's 3rd and 8 once again. H-back, 1-back set, 2 receivers on each side, and they're going to stick with the ground, handing it off and trying to jam his way through the middle, but no dice. No gain. As Wekiva comes up with a 3 and out to start the second half on defense.
Davison on the QB keeper. Isaiah McNish has the stop, about a gain of 1 on the play, not nearly enough for the first down. That'll put the ball at the 26-yard line, bring up 4th and 6, and the Darters will bring up the kicking unit.
So, again, going back to the stats, 32 plays run by Apopka, but it does fit exactly into the statistics coming into this game. 21 plays on the ground, 91 in total as
Wells on the punt. A short Mustang bounce into still Wekiva territory, but at the 45-yard line is where it will stop, and the Mustangs take over from there with 1st and 10.
So 21 rushes for Apopka, 91 yards in total. They're averaging 168.6 per game. So a little bit more than coming in, a little bit better than their average. But the leading carrier was Davidson. He has 50 per game. He has, 144. We'll get to that in a minute as they complete the pass. Tyson Davidson with 45 yards in the lone TD, 31 from
pass is complete for
Sanders.
A pickup of 9 yards. 1 yard. That puts the ball at the 46-yard line.
So all kinds of action going down as you saw the sack. So again, Davidson with 45 yards rushing on 13 carries, 21 in total, 31 also for
Flag
Sanders.
on the play. It's a holding penalty called against Wekiva. That's a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, and a replay of 2nd down.
And 6 of 11 for 63 yards for Davidson as well. 144 yards for Davidson in total, so a little bit above his average, 108. Actually, a lot more than a little, but it's been all Davidson, as you would expect, with 4 different receivers catching his 6 passes.
Strike that. The penalty is declined, and so the Darters would rather have the loss of down.
And that leaves the ball still at the 46. Throwing deep along that left sideline. He's got a man in Ellison. And at the last second, give credit to Burden. He got
Pass
his
intended
hand
for Ellison, and Christopher Clayton is on the coverage in the secondary. Make the pass fall incomplete. And so that'll now bring up 4th and 9.
So Christopher Clayton, the hero of the moment for Apopka, tipping that ball away from Ellison at the very last second along that left sideline. That would have been disaster for Apopka. The deepest Wekiva would have penetrated into Apopka territory tonight. And it takes a Wekiva bounce, more so an Apopka bounce because it rolls right into their returner, but he goes down right away. So both teams 3 and out to start the third quarter, and again, it might not be the flashiest way to play football, but if you're Apopka, you gotta like that.
Lawrence Pipkin Jr. on the
lead.
return. Stop made by Devin Simmons and Blake Childs. And the Mustangs, I said that backwards. Miles Fielding's on the return. Arrington and Watkins had the stop, and that puts the ball at the 31-yard line. Darters take over with 1st and 10 from there.
So gave you the Apopka stats at halftime. Davidson heavy. Wekiva, again, running only 16 plays to 32 for Wekiva as they hand it off and they try that left side. No, it's a reverse. Greatly disguised up here, but not to the defensive line as it's going to be a loss.
Devin Simmons on the carry on the reverse, and he is read like a book by Jabari Smith, who pulls him back 4 yards to the 28-yard line. That'll bring up 2nd and 13.
So Wekiva running the ball only 6 times compared to 10 passes, 12 yards in total, and Jackson Keeler only 4 of 10 for 36 yards. So that's where we are statistically. We'll get to the story in just a minute after this play as Apopka keeps it on the ground. Davidson, again, Bulls ahead. He was your leading rusher at halftime with 45 yards on 13 carries. And he'll get back to actually a little bit past the original line of scrimmage. Looks like a 6-yard gain, which brings the ball up to the 33.
Jockey Sanders on the handoff, and he has a pickup of 4 yards. That'll bring up 3rd and 6.
So
Excuse me, if I do the math right, that's pickup of 7. If you subtract the loss, add the gain.
So that puts the ball at the 34-yard line. Handoff. And again, motors through. Some stop, some go. Keep the offense, keep pushing ahead on that initial contact. He will be short of the first down, though.
Sanders again, this time stopped by Dravic. And that'll bring up 4th and 2, and the Darters are bringing out the kicking unit.
So that 4-yard loss when Apopka went for the reverse, the difference between holding on to the ball and having to punt. And there's the punt. Smith eyeing it down, lets it go over, and it rolls inside the 10, the 5, and just into the end zone.
The ball is into the end zone by about a yard for a touchback. That'll come out to the 20-yard line. Mustangs will start their next offensive drive from there with 1st and 10.
So it could have been a lot worse for Wekiva, as you saw. Could have been 2 or even the 1-yard line. But one of the other key stats, as I've mentioned over and over, is starting position. Wekiva will begin its 3rd possession at its own 20-yard line. 6:40 remaining, 3rd quarter, 7-0 lead for Apopka in the 2024 Mayor's Cup. If you're new to Apopka, Wekiva, as you see, we are on the southeast side of town, next to the State Route 429. Apopka on the northwest side, up on OBT, heading towards Lake County, Mount Dora. Only 5 miles separate. The players know each other. The coaches know each other. They go to school together before they get to high school, as there's a completion that is to Smith.
Jabari Smith has the catch for a Mustang. 1st down.
Both these teams coming in 3 and 5, but still a shot at making the playoffs. Have to win tonight, though, as the ball now at the 35-yard line, officially a 15-yard gain. Keeler lines his team up, 1-back set, as we've seen throughout the season. Handoff to Blackman, and he's got nowhere to go. He bounced to the left and then ran back to the right.
Blackman on the carry. In on the stop include Henry Picard and Caleb Reed. No gain on that play, perhaps half a yard. It'll bring up 2nd and a long 9 for the Mustangs.
So ball at the 36, 2nd and 9. And now
a lot of movement on the Blue Darter side.
Up. Keeler under pressure, and he's got nowhere to go. Down he goes.
Sack completed by Jamarcus Tanner with a little help from Trayvon Williams. And Mustangs slow to get up.
So Keeler goes down, and of course, we've talked all throughout the season. If you follow Wekiva, you know he's a good running back, but there, Apopka made sure he was bottled up, getting great secondary support.
Yeah, and there are few more dangerous situations you can be in than an unprotected quarterback. It doesn't necessarily mean that the defenders did anything wrong or in violation of the rules, but boy, did he get the wind knocked out of him.
Yeah,
it's Jackson Kaler shaken up on the play. He makes his way off with the assistance of our athletic training team. So, of course, that means he will be required to come out for at least one play. Although, actually, it looks like we have also met the midpoint of the 3rd quarter. So we'll go ahead and make this the official timeout as well.
And while we got a break here, Mark, I went through the stats at the beginning of the game, or the beginning of the second half, excuse me. And, I forgot to mention the total yards. So real quick, Apopka 154 yards to Wekiva with 48. So again, 158 to 48. And you think about that, it's roughly 2.5 times more. You'd think the score would be much more. It's still 7-0 Apopka. This is exactly the way Apopka has been playing for years if you're new to high school football. As now we got the substitute, of course.
Penalty marker down. Prior to the snap, encroachment called against the Darter defense. That's a 5-yard penalty from the previous spot. And it'll be a replay of third down.
Also want to point out, Mark, and sit down for this, Wekiva did not commit a penalty in the first half. Apopka with 4, and now that is Smith lining up as the quarterback. So, of course, Jabari, the all-everything athlete, plays defense, offense, and now he's going to take the snap out of the shotgun. Excuse me, that's Naeem Willard. So Willard throws, got his completion. A long way to go, though.
Willard to Smith, gets the ball back past the original line of scrimmage, still well short of first down territory.
And now Wekiva's number 2, that is Michael Ellis.
Michael Ellis
We're going to have another injury timeout for the Mustangs.
on the ground.
Ellis with the catch. It's officially a 6-yard gain. So once again, both these teams come in at 3 and 5. We mentioned that throughout the game. Both teams, though, still, because of the strength of schedule, have an outside shot, and I say outside of making the playoffs because they wouldn't need to win tonight, obviously, but they're going to also need some other teams ahead of them to lose. Apopka has had a much more Wekiva by no means has taken on an easy schedule. Their schedule is above average. They've played Evans and Oviedo, both top 10 teams, and the Orlando Sentinel Super 16, as well as the Max Prep rankings.
Michael Ellis shaken up on the play. He makes his way off with the assistance of our athletic training team. The result of the play is 4th and 9 for the Mustangs from their own 36-yard line.
However, Apopka has played Ocoee, Evans, Dr. Phillips, Edgewater, West Orange, Osceola, and Madison County. So they are among the top 10 in terms of the most difficult schedules in the Max Prep rankings.
Certainly, Neil, if Wekiva's schedule has been respectable, Apopka's has been brutal. And now that Wekiva will kick the ball away on the punt here, and that looks like that's going to be fielding.
He's got open room, avoids one man. It's a foot race down to the 30, the 25, and ridden out at the 15. The 18
fielding
to be
on
exact.
the return, finally pushed out of bounds by the Mustangs about the 18-yard line.
There's a flag, though, right at the 49 of Apopka.
There are 2 penalty markers down right about the 50-yard line. So a lot of I don't know, if I were going to stare into my crystal ball, I would say maybe some kind of block in the back call.
Yeah, they're usually
That's what it is.
Kick in the
Illegal
back.
block in the back is called against the
back.
Darter receiving team, so that return will come back.
So
That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul, puts the ball at the 41-yard line, and so the Darter drive will begin from there. So it still turns the ball over to Apopka, but not with nearly the heart-pounding pressure
damage
of starting inside the red zone.
So getting back to the Apopka schedule again, read off the list of title contenders, top 10 ranked teams, whether it's Max Prep or the Orlando Sentinel Super 16. They started off the season like any other season, winning 3 of their first 4 games. Since then, though, they've lost their last 5. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the game, though, the one thing that has kept them together through this is their defense. Their defense has been stellar, giving up only 93 points per game. That's 11 points in change. Problem's been their offense. scoring only 88 points in total, or 11 per game. You look at their stats as well, an average as a team, 6.3 per carry and 169 per game, but they haven't been able to get that ball into the end zone. We've seen that tonight. So their highest total they've given up, again talking about Apopka, they did give up 49 points to Westport, but 5 of their 8 games they've given up 14 points, 2 touchdowns or less. And now Apopka back on the attack. That's Davidson with the fake handoff, and he's going to try to push that pile ahead. I've seen this all night. Nothing new.
McNish on the stop after the carry by Tyson Davison on the QB keeper. That's good for a pickup of 4. Puts the ball at the 46-yard line. Brings up second and a long 5, short 6.
Out of the one-back set. Handoff. And again, initial contact about a yard beyond the line of scrimmage, but the running back fell forward for another couple of yards, which will set up 3rd and short.
McNish and Watkins on the stop there after the push forward by Davison. That puts the ball up to the 48-yard line. Pickup of 2. 3rd and 3 coming up for the Darters.
And I've mentioned it over and over. This is as much a part of the state of the program and game design for Apopka as the actual plays. Just keep getting 3 and 4 yards, set up those 3rd and short plays. You go with the H-back again, the handoff. He's got a hole on that left side. He accelerates, and that's going to be around 20 yards. As he stopped, he go, and then he
Trey
accelerated.
Muldrow on the carry. The stop made by George Phillips, but not before getting into Mustang territory and picking up a Blue Darter first down. Ball spotted at the 39-yard line of Wekiva turf.
That's a 14-yard gain. Actually, 13 officially, more importantly, as you heard Mark say. 1st and 10, and now they continue to milk that clock as we drop under 2 minutes in the 3rd quarter. 7-0 lead for Apopka. Handoff again. On the left side now, the same play, some stop and go, some stutter, some delay.
Once again, Trey Muldrow. Once again, George Phillips on the stop. This time, it's a pickup of 3 yards and change. That puts the ball at the 36-yard line. Brings up 2nd and 7.
Tyson Davidson, 7-yard run midway through the first quarter is actually the first possession. The second possession. And that's the 7-0 lead as he takes it himself now, tries to sweep around that right side, eludes a would-be defender, and motors ahead for close to that first down.
Tyson Davison on the QB keeper. Marlon Perking on the stop. And that puts the ball just short of first down marker. The ball is at the 30-yard line for a gain of 6, and it brings up 3rd and 1.
A critical play now. Obviously,
clock ticking down here on the 3rd quarter. 45 seconds to go.
Remaining. They remain in the formation that we've seen all night. Motion now. And Davidson takes it himself. And he gets slammed down. This time he can't bounce
Davison
off
on the carry.
pass.
Stop made by Jabari Smith. And that is going to be officially a sack. It is a TFL for about 2 yards backwards. And that'll bring up 4th and 3.
So now you're looking at a 49-yarder. So I don't think, Coach Ralston's going to go for this first down. He's not going to. There is no inclination whatsoever that the field goal team's coming in.
Yeah, Michael Wells, I mean, I haven't observed his entire season closely, but he's 0 for 2
2, which we have not mentioned, and we should.
And that takes us officially to the end of the 3rd quarter. Still a 7-0 ball game as we go into the final 12 minutes here in the 18th annual installment of the Mayor's Cup. Mayor Brian Nelson will be with us after the conclusion of the game to present the Mayor's Cup to the winning team, and it will sit in their trophy case for the next 12 months. So make sure you stick around for that. However, for those of you who are here at the stadium, we want to remind you that if you are depending on a ride to get home from tonight's game and you have not already done so, please give them a call. Let them know we are headed into the fourth quarter and they should be on their way. We do invite you to stick around and watch the trophy presentation after the game. However, after that, we will be looking to clear the stadium and allow our administrators to get home to their families as quickly as possible, and we appreciate your cooperation with that.
So as we head into the fourth quarter, have to also remember 2 missed field goals by Wells. I don't remember what the exact amount were, but I know they were between 35 and 38 yards. Otherwise, you'd be looking at a 13-0 lead instead of 7-0. Apopka has really controlled this game. We mentioned at halftime they ran 32 plays compared to Wekiva's 16. That's a stat that you don't talk about a lot. We talking heads don't. You don't see it in the newspapers either. But I think in this case it is important because it just shows how much longer Apopka's held the ball. As Davison takes it, stutters, and barrels ahead on the right side on 4th and 1, and he did not get the first down.
The Mustangs make the stop. Ball is spotted at the 31-yard line. That is insufficient, and so the ball goes over on downs to Wekiva. 1st and 10 Mustangs from their own 31.
And
so they needed 3. They got 1. And now the Mustangs with a critical possession. The Blue Darters have been stingy with the clock all night. The Mustangs have not gotten a lot of possession, so every single one of them is worth its weight in gold. And now the Mustangs, with 11 minutes, 52 seconds left in their home season, have got to make something happen here in order to keep any ghost of a playoff hope alive. As you as mentioned earlier in the broadcast, Neil, both of these teams are going to need some help. They are neither statistically eliminated nor statistically guaranteed to be in the playoffs, but a win here really makes a difference as the pass is in and out of the hands of Mike Blackman, and that is incomplete. That'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs from their own 31-yard line. And as you mentioned, Neil, just based on strength of schedule alone, Wekiva's was respectable, Apopka's was brutal, and so that same 3-5 record means a little bit more for Apopka in terms of playoff probability, and certainly a win here tonight at least keeps Apopka's name in the conversation. Wekiva would be a little bit more of an outside chance even with a win tonight, but still certainly would be possible. The pass is intercepted.
And the first turnover of the ball game.
Pickoff by Henry Picard, and it is run back to about the 20-yard line. And that is exactly the very worst thing that could have happened to Wekiva at that moment.
Yeah, that's the mistake, the self-inflicted mistake. And again, that goes under the Apopka, the way they play the game. Just don't make the mistakes. Wait for the opponent to make the mistake. And again, going back to what I was saying a few minutes ago, 32 to 16 plays, you don't necessarily need to score once you get that lead as long as you keep the ball away from the opponent. The opponent can't score if they don't have the ball. Now that's just magnified with the momentum now in Apopka's favor because of the turnover. A poor throw, poor decision by Keeler. That was an easy pick for Picard jumping the route. And now they hand it off, and with the momentum, he's got room to operate, and he slides into the end zone. Gallops into the end zone, 13-0. Apopka, 11:31 remaining. One play.
Number 20, Jockey Sanders, has the ball 29 yards into the end zone for a Blue Darter touchdown.
29 yards. Snap, ball's up, and kick is no good. Wells continues to struggle tonight. And that leaves the score at 13-0, 11:31. So Wekiva does get some good fortune with the missed PAT, but of course the touchdown has far more of an impact than the missed PAT, especially now that there's only 11 and a half minutes remaining. One play needed by Apopka following the pick from Henry Picard, the senior defensive back, jumping the route on a Jackson Keeler out pass on an out route. And Sanders doing the honors from 29 yards out. Other touchdown was scored by Tyson Davidson at the end of the first quarter, their second possession. And we have ourselves a 13-0 ball game with 11:31 remaining from Mustang Field in a game that both teams need to win to keep their slim playoff hopes alive. This is the 2024 Mayor's Cup. Apopka kicking off, that's Wells. About 200 people in attendance on both sides. And as we're going to get a penalty because the ball went out of bounds.
Wells' kickoff attempt is out of bounds. That is, of course, an illegal kick and will be resulting in a penalty marker.
Okay, actually, upon review, it's not a penalty.
Wekiva touched that ball before it went out of bounds, so the penalty marker is not called. It is down where the ball was last touched, and that is at the 9-yard line. So the Mustangs take over from there with 1st and 10. So Neil, that again is not the best outcome for Wekiva in this situation.
Not just the touchdown, but then you add the fact they have to move the ball 91 yards. And we are in touchdown territory. Field goals really don't do them any good unless they can score, I'd say, within about a minute. I'd say you have to score with about 10 and a half minutes left for field goals still to have an impact.
Yeah, and honestly, I mean, just knowing how clock management has gone so far today, Neil,
Pipkin.
I think even if you get the touchdown, you're potentially in onside kick territory here. Pipkin with the outside carry, and that's a pickup of 6 yards. It brings up 2nd and 4 for the Mustangs from their own 13-yard line.
And we're talking about field goals not mattering with still 10 minutes remaining because you have to figure, number one, Apopka has not allowed Wekiva to start. They've had one possession where they did not start, Wekiva that is, at their own 20 or beyond. This possession starting at the 9, and that means you're going to have to take some time off the clock in order to move the ball at least 80 yards. But the other thing is Apopka, like they do for 30-plus years, and we mentioned it over and over as there's no gain on that, trying to blast through that left side, they've not allowed Wekiva to have much time. They have held the ball for a 2-to-1 percentage in time of possession.
Tykevis Davis on the carry. Caleb Reed, among others, in on the stop. No gain on the play, maybe 1 yard. That puts the ball at the 14-yard line and brings up 3rd and 5.
So 3rd and 5 from, as you heard Mark say, the 14-yard line. One back set. Keeler under pressure again, throws it quickly along the left sideline. It's up for grabs, and no catch by Smith. Around midfield. He got his hands on it, was able to corral it for a second, but was not able to control it.
Pass intended for Smith falls incomplete. That brings up 4th and 5 for the Mustangs. And Neil, this is an unenviable position to be in.
Yeah, and again, now we've seen 3 consecutive situations, or if you want to call actions, for Wekiva, which is just putting him in a tremendous hole. Now with 10 minutes remaining, they're going to punt from right at the goal line. That, of course, is actually 4 in a row. The interception, then the 29-yard touchdown. Then they had to start the possession at the 9-yard line, and now they have to punt from the goal line. And all that leads to Apopka with a chance now, golden opportunity to get this lead up to at least 3 scores, 16-0.
The ball is down at the 41-yard line, and that is where Apopka will take over in Mustang territory for their next offensive possession. For those of you here in the stadium, we have a special at the concession stand. If you need a snack to get you through the rest of the game and you'd like to support our Mustang Band programs, buy one, get one on all hot food items. This is the last home game of the year, and we've heard that hot dogs are just not as good if they sit for about 48 more weeks. So we want those to go, and so they are buy one, get one right now. All hot food items, individual items, not combos, are right now at the concession stand. Get a great deal and get yourself a snack before you head out for the evening.
So Apopka with that golden opportunity to up this lead to 2 scores. That's, of course, 2 touchdowns and 2 points at 16-0. More likely it's a 3-score. Worst case scenario. And they'll begin this drive and what we've seen all year as Cawthorn takes the ball. They tried to swing it to the outside. Nonetheless, it's a pound and ground attack, which they've been so successful with over the years.
Carry by Demarion Cawthorn, stopped by George Phillips. That's a pickup of 2 yards on the play. Puts the ball just inside the 40 at the 39-yard line. 2nd and 8 coming up for the Darters.
So Wekiva was at least on the scoreboard, making this a competitive game. It was 7-0 through the first 3 quarters. And now they've run into a series of own self-inflicted mistakes. Apopka has had something to do with that, keeping the pressure on as they're going to stay on the ground. The pound and ground handoff at Safford. He pushes ahead, barrels ahead.
And on the stop of the Mustangs with number 12, Davis.
Clayton on the carry. Jalen Barnes and Tykevis Davis in on the stop. That puts the ball at about the 34-yard line.
And it'll be 3rd and 2. And you're now seeing Apopka taking a lot of time between snaps, as you would expect with the lead. Fake handoff. Davis takes it himself, a stutter steps, and trucks into that second line.
Davis,
the linebacking core,
on the carry with the QB keeper. The stop made by Jabari Smith. And that is good for a Darter first down, putting the ball inside the 30 down to the 26-yard line.
An 8-yard gain as we are now about to drop under 8 minutes. And again, it will be 1st and 10 for Apopka at the Wekiva 26-yard line. So, saw an interception from Henry Picard. Got the ball back to the Wekiva 29 on the next play. Only 1 play needed on offense as Davison drops back. It's going for the throw. Wide open in the end zone. And it's a touchdown for Alex Rossi. All he had to do was run under that ball in a 19-0 lead for Apopka. 7:39 remaining.
Rossi has the catch in the end zone for a 26-yard completion for TD.
So Wells will come on, trying to make this a 20-0 ball game. It's a snap, ball down, kick up, and this time score the points on what Wells kicked.
PAT by Michael Wells is good. That makes it a 20-0 ball game with 7.5 minutes remaining here in the 4th quarter.
So as I started to say, QB
now?
Huh?
QB.
Davison, what?
Davison, okay.
Number 12. So, again, to finish my thought, Mark, Wekiva was competitive. It was only 7-0 for most of this game, even though Apopka has had time of possession and plays run almost 2-1, might even be more than 2-1. But at least it was a situation where if Apopka did make a mistake, the door would be open for Wekiva to tie this game and maybe even steal the lead in terms of feeling like it's Apopka should be leading from start to finish. That was until recently with 11:40 remaining, about four minutes and a second ago. Henry Picard coming up with an interception. It was a jump the route interception along the right sideline. He ran it back to the 29-yard line. As Wekiva will start around their own 25, 30-yard line. And Apopka needed one play following that interception by Picard, as we have seen over and over throughout the years. That massive running attack, the power, 29 yards for Jaden Safford, got straight through the hole, shifted to the left, a little juke, and he was off. Then a 3-and-out on Wekiva, and Apopka taking over at their own 41-yard line, and 4 plays later, the Davidson to Rossi 26-yard TD pass, and that makes the score 20-0 with 7:30 remaining.
The Mustangs begin on the 22-yard line with their next offensive possession. And yeah, Neil, at this point, unless something really dramatically different than what we've seen all night comes to pass, three scores is effectively out
and
of
there
reach.
It is.
But there it is!
30 to 25 to 20, 15, 10, 5,
The
4,
pass
3,
is
2, 1,
complete
Ellison.
to number 13, Demetrius Ellison, and he is into the end zone for a Mustang touchdown.
78 yards, and Mark, they couldn't cue it better. As you were saying, we need something drastically different. And in the split second, the minute that ball got about the 50-yard line in the air, and you could see Ellison had about 3 steps on the DB, you could just feel the feel of this whole stadium changing. So now they're going to go for the 2-point conversion, down by 12. They're going to run it out of a 3-back set, straight back to McNish. Bad snap and a flag. And there's unfortunately
penalty marker down.
There's something we have seen all too often, a lot of confusion when Wekiva tries to run an offensive play. And I believe the penalty was against Wekiva. They're coming off the field.
Illegal substitution. Too many men on the field is called against the Blue Darters. That'll be half the distance to the goal and a replay of the try.
Okay, so I was wrong. And now you move the ball about a yard closer. PATs take place at the 2. They'll run the same play. Bunch formation, power. McNish takes it, hops left, lowers the shoulder, and bowls it.
McNish on the Wildcat sneak gets in for the 2-point conversion. The Mustangs now enjoy an 8-20 game, and they are on the board.
So, Mark, going back to the touchdown again, if you just tuned in, Keeler to Ellison, 78 yards. Not sure what happened in the Apopka secondary, but there was a breakdown. Ellison separating from the DBs about 3 yards once he got to about the 45 of Apopka. And, of course, he caught the ball at about the 30, and it was off to the races from there. Ellison having that 3-stride lead on the DBs. Still a 20-8 deficit with 7:18 remaining. Don't be surprised if they go for the onside here, given how efficient and lethal Apopka is and holding on to the ball for a long amount of times. But we've also seen these 70, 80, 90-yard pass completions late in the game as well. And there's the onside, and that is Tanner. Used his fingertips to bring it in and then goes down with 7:16 remaining.
Jamarcus Tanner recovers the onside kick for Apopka, so the Blue Darters will take over at the 45-yard line with 1st and 10. And now their mission is to do exactly what they've been doing all game.
Run out the clock
That's
at
right.
3 yards at a time.
Safe plays. Look for ground balls. We're going to run up the middle. We're not going to do anything that has a high risk of fumble or interception.
And they have the ball in excellent field position again.
They'll do just enough to move the chains.
They have excellent field position at their own 45. So if you get a couple of first downs, you're now at the Wekiva 35 with about 5.5, maybe 6 minutes remaining. And they'll start off the
doing
possession
exactly
with
what
the
I said
run
they were
as
going to do.
expected, but who is that carrying it?
That's 20. That is Sanders. Jockey Sanders on the opening carry of this drive. That's good for a pickup of 2 yards. Reason on the stop, and that puts the ball at the 47-yard line.
So also wanted to point out, Mark, I'm going back to the touchdown. It was a 78-yard touchdown, and the point I was making when I brought it up before is that we've seen Wekiva throw a lot of these 70-yard bombs. They look good, and they look good in the highlight reel. They'll be up there for Sports Center if ESPN, as Davidson takes it himself, and this will bring up another 3rd and short. They look good on an ESPN Sports Center highlight reel if they did a high school show. But
Davison on the carry, stop made by Perking, and that is good for a pickup of about 4 yards. Puts the ball just inside of Mustang territory at the 49-yard line.
But these 70, 80, 90-yard highlight reels, they come in the second half, and when Wekiva's already down by 3 touchdowns. It takes Wekiva all season in their 5th loss, and if they do wind up losing this, it'll be 6. They found themselves down by at least 3 touchdowns, as Apopka's going to be right at that first down marker, but Wekiva fell behind by at least 3 touchdowns in all 6 of their losses, if this does wind up being a loss before scoring their first touchdown.
And we have reached the midpoint of the 4th quarter, and so we'll pause for an official timeout as the carry brings the Peloton down to the 46-yard line. We'll call that a gain of 3, and that means it'll be 4th and 1 when we come back from this timeout. Our final break, at least our final official break of this Mayor's Cup game. For those of you here in the stadium, once again, we'd like to remind you that we are going to be presenting the Mayor's Cup. Mayor Nelson is here and will be presenting the trophy to the winner of tonight's game immediately after the conclusion of the 4th quarter. However, after that, we will be looking to close the facility and get our administrators home to their family as quickly as possible. So if you are depending on a ride to get home from tonight's game, we do ask for your cooperation to have your ride on their way and ready to meet you right after the conclusion of tonight's game, and that you please make your way quickly but safely to the parking lot at the conclusion of tonight's game.
Apopka with possession, 4th and 1 at the Wekiva 46. They have the 20-8 lead, 5:38 remaining. And if they get this, that's going to be a big, big nail in the coffin. No, they're not. They're going to actually punt it. So, and Smith gets away from that ball. So Wekiva will take over. First
Blue Darter
and 10.
punt is downed at the 19-yard line of Mustang territory. Both teams have all 3 of their timeouts remaining, with 5 minutes, 31 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter as we switch possessions here for the last time.
So once again, Apopka, even though they did not get the first down, it was a 3 and out. They did take almost 2 minutes off the clock. And more importantly, though, moving forward, if you're Wekiva, they are once again starting deep in their own territory, as Mark just said, at their own 19-yard line.
Orlando Health Jewett Orthopedic Institute is honored to be on the sidelines tonight. On the field and off, they provide a full spectrum of orthopedic services and a multitude of specialties and subspecialties, from hip, knee, and shoulder experts to orthopedic traumatology and more. Offering proven leading-edge techniques and technologies, Orlando Health Jewett Orthopedic Institute provides patients world-class personalized care from a number of convenient locations throughout Central Florida. Proud to feature Florida's first dedicated orthopedic hospital. Learn more at orlandohealth.com/ortho. Orlando Health. Choose well.
So Wekiva's best starting position tonight.
I'll remember that next year when the food's coming to the press box, Joe.
And so, Neil,
has
we're
been
paused here, and I'm not entirely sure why. I don't know if this is an extension of the official timeout from the water break or if one of the teams had a called timeout. But in any case, we had a little break in the action here where we would have had a clock stoppage anyway for the change in possession.
So Wekiva's best starting position tonight has been their own 31-yard line.
I can't possibly imagine that Wekiva would have called a timeout in that situation because they're going to need all three of their timeouts. Apopka might have called one just because the clock was stopped anyway.
Now Keeler rolling right, out of bounds. No one in the
Pass
vicinity.
Is thrown away and incomplete, and that'll bring up 2nd and 10 for the Mustangs.
So 2nd and 10, 5:25 remaining. And now if you're Apopka, even if you do give up a touchdown, you want to make sure that you force Wekiva into taking some time off that clock. I'd say at least half of it, at least with 3 minutes remaining. Of course, the big thing is you just don't want to give up the highlight reel play and touchdown like they did on the last possession, 78 yards. And that's certainly exactly what Apopka wants. As Keeler goes down, he had nowhere to run again.
So we'll have to see what the official signal is. He did throw that ball, or at least try to spike it. I'm not sure whether they're going to call that an incomplete pass or whether they're going to say his knee was down first.
So it is officially an incomplete pass.
Kaler was able to get the snap off before going down, or the spike off, rather, and so that will go down as an incomplete pass. 3rd and 10 now coming up from the 19-yard line.
5:21 remaining, and time and opportunity is diminishing quickly for Wekiva. That door is closing. As we go with the one-back set, trips far sideline. Keeler some time now. Now the pocket breaks down, rolls right, throws it, finds his man Pipkin. He's got to make a couple of moves to get the first down, and I think
the pass is
right
complete
at the line
to Pipkin, who gets a few extra yards after the catch, gets it close to the first down marker. The ball is officially spotted at the 31-yard line, and yes, that is enough for a Mustang first down.
So a 12-yard gain, and as your remarks say, it is a first down. You're still 69 yards from the end zone with 5 minutes remaining.
It's one of those situations where you say, I have good news and bad news.
Yeah. And again, yardage has been so hard for Wekiva to come by as Keeler rolls right, throws God's man Smith, and this time he overthrew Smith. That was a
pass intended for Smith falls incomplete. 2nd and 10 coming up.
And that was a secondary incomplete pass, or excuse me, the defensive line. The defensive line caused so much pressure from Keeler, he was never able to set his feet and just lobbed that ball instead of throwing it. So 2nd and 10 now from the Wekiva 31. We're not quite under 5 minutes, 5 minutes and 1 second to be exact. But still, not much time for Wekiva to work with, down by 2 touchdowns. And again, since we going all the way back to the pregame show, can't emphasize it enough, this has been an Apopka game. It's as much about controlling the clock, running the play, not necessarily scoring, just taking time off that clock, keeping the ball away from the opponent, and controlling the field position, especially where you're starting the positions. As they'll gain 6 on that completion, Woolard.
Pass is complete to number 1, Naeem Woolard, and he is stopped. His forward motion is stopped at the 37-yard line. That's a gain of 6. It brings up 3rd and 4 for the Mustangs.
Keeler, snap, quick pass to Smith, trying to make that a big play with the run after the catch. And number 36.
Pass is complete to Jabari
Brinson.
Smith. Stop is made for the Blue Darters by Amir Brinson.
And Brinson would not allow any of it, and it's actually a loss. About 2
Loss
yards.
of 1 on the play, 4th and 5 coming up for Wekiva. Certainly 4-down territory at this point.
And I think this is pretty much the game, given Apopka how they've run that offense. And they'll keep the ball as Smith catches it, shakes off a would-be tackle, gains a few more yards down to the Apopka 42. And there's a
Troy
flag
Smith
down.
on the carry, penalty marker in the backfield. Dead ball, personal foul called against the Blue Darter defense. That's 15-yard penalty. It was already a Mustang first down, and it's still a Mustang first down.
So Wekiva showing some life. And the ball will be down at the Apopka 28. And as I mentioned, you can give up the touchdown if you're Apopka. You just don't want to give up a big highlight reel that only takes 10 or 12 seconds off, and that's exactly that type of play there when you add that 15 yards on for the penalty. Keeler back, 3.5 minutes remaining. He lunges ahead, trying to gallop, gain something. He did gain it. The bad news, though, is the clock does continue
Taylor
to
on
tick.
the QB keep. In on the stop is Trey Muldrow, and that's good for a pickup of 5 yards.
We're up 2nd and 5 at the Apopka 23 as we're now down to 3 minutes. Snap out of the one-back set. Pressure on. Throws it quickly, but out of bounds.
Pass in the general vicinity of Michael Ellis, but is essentially thrown away and falls incomplete. 3rd and 5 now coming up for Wekiva.
So certainly a much more raucous, boisterous atmosphere here at Mustang Field since they gained that 33 yards that includes the penalty. Question, though, is it too little, too late, as there's now 2:58 remaining as Keeler will take the snap out of the one-back set. And under pressure, contact, shakes it off, can't shake it off a second time, and down he goes. And now I think if you're Coach Gabe, well, there is an injured Blue Darter, a Apopka player, so that's actually a break for Wekiva. No, it's not. He's getting up. And the clock has stopped. That's where I was going, is that at first, before I saw the Blue Darter down, if you're Coach Gabriel, you got to call your first time out.
Defensive holding is called against the Blue Darters.
And the Mustangs will take one of their timeouts.
And so that's the worst possible play or outcome that Apopka, from the Apopka perspective, even if Wekiva did get a first down, the clock would start again once the chains move, but that penalty stops the clock. Only 11 seconds came off, and you get a first down. Wekiva gets a first down as well.
Mustangs will have 1st and 10 from the Blue Darter 14-yard line. 2 minutes 50 seconds remaining in the 4th quarter. Mustangs trailing by 12. I don't necessarily know that the extra points really change the math from here on out, because 12 points ties the game. So you need any combination of one of the 2 touchdowns to have either a 1 or 2 point try.
So,
other than that, it really doesn't change the math.
But first you got to get the touchdown as they go with a empty back, and there it is. Smith snagging the ball.
Smith in the end zone, provisionally for a Mustang touchdown. There is a penalty marker in the end zone. We'll see what the call is.
That was a beautiful throw, beautiful catch. One-on-one coverage with Smith, and he flat out beat the DB on that. Perfectly
pass
timed
interference called against the Blue Darters. That, of course, is not necessary since the catch was made anyway. It is a Mustang touchdown.
Smith perfectly timing the jump in front of the DB, as well as using his body as a shield. And it's a 20-12 ball game with the 2 PAT pending, 2:46 remaining. As I can hear the Wekiva Mustangs marching band letting the crowd know that we now have a 1 touchdown deficit And McNish takes the ball, motors around the right end.
McNish
20 to
again
16.
into the end zone for a 2-point conversion, his second in as many Mustang touchdowns.
And life is being felt at Mustang Field. The crowd into it, the ground is shaking, the bleachers shaking with 2:46 remaining in a 20 to 16 ball game now. Now, of course, McNish 2 PAT. So now the question mark, and I brought this up before, given that Wekiva just, in all 5 of their losses so far in this game as well, they have fallen behind by at least 3 touchdowns. Do they have enough time to get the ball back? Of course, they're trying for the onside kick, a successful onside kick. We'll see if they can pull off, beat the odds here. Less than 10% of the time the kicking team is successful on an onside kickoff. As the marching band, Wekiva to my right, still beating the drums, still playing the horns.
The Blue Darters request their second timeout of the second half.
And maybe the marching band, with their sudden demonstration of life and having something to show life about, can will the kicking team to a successful onside kickoff. 2:46 remaining. Wekiva scored 2 consecutive kickoffs during the second half of this fourth quarter to at least make the score look interesting and at least bring some life and some optimism and hope into this crowd of about 200 here at Mustang Field. Unsuccessful on the previous attempt. And it could very well be their last gasp with 2:46 remaining. And the way Apopka runs the ball, there it is, the onside kick to the right, takes a bounce, rolls right into the hands of Frazier, who immediately goes down and ends the play. Smart play.
Jamar Watkins on the onside kick. Frazier has the recovery for the Blue Darters.
Frazier, the sophomore quarterback, showing his hands there. And now it's very simple, Mark. Wekiva has to somehow come up with a 3 and out. You know Apopka's going to run at least 20 seconds off between each play, so that leaves you with 1:45. It's not even about where the ball is, although it is at the 47 of Apopka. The only question is who's going to be running it out of the 2-back set, and it'll be Simmons to start, and exactly what they need, 7 yards, plunging.
Simmons on the handoff, stop made by Davis among others, and that'll move the ball up 5 yards. That puts the ball just inside Mustang territory.
So not quite the 7 I originally thought, it's 5, but nonetheless, it's effective, exactly what Apopka needs. It keeps the clock running.
Wekiva will hang on to their timeouts for now. They have 2 left.
Now they line up the H-back on the left side as we drop under 2 minutes. Right now, and Davidson taking all the time he can. Another handoff, straight up the middle, and there's that first of the first downs they need. Muldrow.
Number 11, Trey Muldrow, up the middle, and the ball is spotted at the 40-yard line. That is enough for a Blue Darter first down on a pickup of 8 yards. $1:36 left in the ball game, and Wekiva still is going to sit on their hands. They're not going to use the timeouts yet. And no, I apologize. I had that spot incorrect. That is the 44-yard line.
So it's now 3rd and 1 with the running back lined up to the right of Davidson as well as the H-back. So it's going to that right side. Davidson takes it himself, shifts back to the left, lunges forward, drops. It's a first down, and with 1:08 left, Wekiva is going to need a miracle now, even with the timeouts.
Davison on the carry. That is just enough now for the Blue Darter first down that puts the ball at the 42-yard line. Pickup of 2, 1st and 10. And Wekiva does have timeouts.
Yeah, and that's why this game isn't formally over as far as the outcome. Do they have all 2 or 3? So Wekiva needs to come up with a big play. Apopka keeps handing it off as Muldrow, who started carrying the ball in the second half.
Trey Muldrow on the carry for the Blue Darters. And now the Mustangs will take a timeout. Nope, the Mustangs take a called timeout.
So now if you're Apopka, all you need to do is avoid the fumble or a turnover. And you're going home with your 4th victory of the season. And you're still alive for a playoff berth in the Class 7A.
And then again, based on the way FHSAA power rankings work, it's so difficult to say with absolute finality that Wekiva is statistically eliminated from playoff contention. However, the number of stars that would have to align in order for that outcome to occur is quite difficult to imagine. I could probably sit here all weekend trying to come up with an unlikely series of events that would happen next week and may still not come up with one. So, again, this will likely, unless something happens to swing the momentum here in the next 25 seconds, this will likely end Wekiva's season. Well, not officially, because they will play Jones next week regardless, because that game got moved from the week that otherwise would have been another doubleheader for them. Wekiva really did not want to play Jones on the same week that they had just made up a game on Monday. And so they made the choice to go ahead and take advantage of the offer that the FHSAA made to push that game forward past the end of the season and take advantage of the extended season. So that game will be next week in the unprecedented Week 12 of high school football on the road.
So Apopka just needs to take a couple more snaps. Don't turn the ball over.
Stick around after the conclusion of tonight's game. Commissioner Diane Velasquez will be here on the field with us to present the Mayor's Cup to tonight's victor. And then after that, of course, we will ask our fans here in the stadium to safely and but expeditiously exit the stadium so they can get to their vehicles and our administrators can get home to their families. We appreciate your cooperation with that. Ball is at the 42-yard line. I think we had a little bit of an extended delay with this timeout because all the balls seem to have escaped from our ball boys' hands. So
need a ball. So now Apopka actually is already in victory formation, and I believe that'll be the last snap of the game. Yes, it will. The team's walking off.
All right, Neil, I'm going to leave you here to conclude the broadcast. I'm going to go downstairs to talk to Commissioner Vasquez.
Okay, Apopka moves to 4-5 on the season despite that losing record, and they will not make up that 10th game against Cocoa, which was canceled due to Hurricane Milton. They still have a very good shot, probably 50-50, to get into the Class 7A playoffs because of the strength of their schedule. Nonetheless,
to the end of the Mayor's Cup, 20-16 is the final score here in Week 11. The 18th annual installment of the Apopka Mayor's Cup has concluded. Despite a valiant comeback effort by the Mustangs, it is a 4-point victory for the Blue Darters here on Friday night. Don't go anywhere. Presentation of the Mayor's Cup coming up in just a moment.
Wekiva, in the meantime, will drop to 3-6. They have one last game next Thursday against Jones. It's on the road. The story of tonight's game from the Wekiva perspective, unfortunately, the 6th time this season, all 6 losses. They found their mojo, but way too little, way too late. Apopka busting ahead with a 20-0 lead, 4:48 remaining. Tyson Davidson going 7 yards on the ground for a touchdown, 11:31 in the 4th quarter. Sanders with a 29-yard touchdown that followed a pick by Henry Pickens to give Apopka possession, and then the clincher, a Davidson to Rossi pass, 26 yards, 7:39 remaining. Wekiva did get a couple touchdowns, as I mentioned, to make the score look more competitive, but again, it was too little, too late. It was a typical Apopka victory as they ran the running attack 60%, 70% of the time out of the wing tee, gaining 3-4 yards at a time. Field position and a 2-to-1 advantage in plays run as well as time of possession to Wekiva. And if you don't have possession of the ball, you can't score. So now we will begin our presentation of the Mayor's Cup. And actually, it's going to be a couple more minutes as the Apopka Blue Darters are now celebrating with their band. So while we got some more time, I'll talk to you about Tyson Davidson. He was the man tonight, as you would expect, the man who's been leading the Darters in rushing yards, average.
Once again, we'd like to thank everyone for coming out to support your Mustang and Blue Darter athletes. Special thanks also to those of you who tuned in online on YouTube, the NFHS Network, or AM 950 FM 94.9 WRL, The Answer. Watching tonight's game. Don't go anywhere, we will have the presentation of the Mayor's Cup by Apopka Commissioner Diane Velasquez in just a moment.
So again, typical Apopka, not only do they gain the time of possession as well as the running, it was at least 2-to-1. Please remember, we do not have statistics kept here at the high school level. It's a skeleton crew, but eyeball is certainly 2-to-1 in both stats. And that just wears the team down, as we saw through the first 3 quarters, as well as combined with Wekiva, too little, too late, falling behind in their 6th loss, in all 6 losses, by at least 3 touchdowns before they scored their first. Tyson Davidson scoring around, rushing for at least 100 yards, but six different rushers carrying the ball tonight, so a very diverse attack on the ground for the Blue Darters. Blue Darters also very efficient when they threw the ball, only threw it about 12 times. The biggest play was a 27-yard completion along the right sideline, which set up the first touchdown, and then that brings me to my final point, which is Apopka led for most of the game, and life is much, much easier when you're playing from ahead than from behind. And again, it was the pass, a 27-yard completion, which set up that first touchdown and gave Apopka a lead they would never relinquish. And so now, as you can see out in the middle, that is Mark Barchi, our public address announcer, as well as my on-air partner. He is standing at the Wekiva 47-yard line. We are getting ready for the presentation of the Mayor's Cup, which has become a tradition here in Apopka, Intra-City. Of course, Wekiva and Apopka about 5 miles apart. And Brian Nelson,
and now, please help me welcome Apopka Commissioner Diane Velasquez with a presentation of the 2024-18 annual Mayor's Cup. Is it on? Thank you, Commissioner Velasquez. Once again, we'd like to thank everyone for coming out
To support your Mustang and Blue Darter athletes, this has been the 18th annual installment of the Mayor's Cup, and this one goes to the Blue Darters 20-16. This is also the conclusion of the home season for Wekiva High School. There is yet one more game in a special turn of events because there were 2 weeks of football that were impacted this year by hurricanes. The FHSAA has made the unprecedented decision to extend the football season by 1 week. And so there will be, for the first time, a week 12. That is next week. The Mustangs will make up the game that was rescheduled from earlier in the year. They will travel to Jones. So a 7 o'clock kickoff next Friday, November the 8th, to wrap up season 18 of Mustang football on the road. However, this is the last time that we will see you for the regular season at home here at Mustang Field. And so we'd like to thank everyone for supporting your Mustang athletes tonight and all season long. We will see you for more Mustang athletic action as we head into the winter sporting season. Until next time, thanks for coming out tonight. Please drive carefully and arrive home safely. Have a great weekend. Excuse me, next week's game is a Thursday night edition of football, not Friday. November 7th, not November 8th, and that'll be at Jones.
Thank you for coming out. It is now time to exit the stadium. If you are waiting to meet up with someone, please have them meet up with you.
Okay, so once again, your final score of the 2024 Mayor's Cup, the Apopka Blue Darters 20-16. Apopka taking that 20-0 lead and holding on. As Mark just said, if you didn't hear it, Wekiva has one more game. They play Jones next Thursday. It's November 7th. Apopka done for the season. Apopka will await their playoff hope, their playoff fate. At 4-5, they still have a chance to get in. Wekiva, barring some, first they'd have to beat Jones, and they'd have to hope for about 10 other teams to lose. Their playoff hopes are all but gone. And of course, we will see you once again once basketball season starts in a couple of weeks. In the meantime, Mark, it's your time to take us to the finish line.
All right, I'm back in the press box now again. Thank you, Neil, for joining us tonight all season long and these last 18 years as we wrap up the football season here at Wekiva. Also want to thank our colleagues in the press box tonight from WORL and 950 AM, 94.9 FM. The Answer, broadcasting tonight alongside us. Great house guests to have, and always happy to call games together with them. And thank you to the fans. Thank you for tuning in tonight and all season long. Please subscribe before you go. We have lots more Mustang athletic action to carry for you this year. Coming up next will probably be mostly basketball games that will be airing on our YouTube channel and NFHS Network channel. And we hope we'll see you for lots of those. So again, for Neil Fisher, this is Mark Barchi, the voice of the Mustangs, wishing you a good night and a great weekend. Good night from South Apopka.